Welcome everyone to the Summary Fundamentals course. I'm Gus Gerlach and this is part 1. And today we'll be talking about the basics and objectives of the summary. So let's get right into it. Summary basics. The summary speech is a 3-minute speech given by the first speaker of each team. It comes right after the rebuttal and is succeeded right by the final focus. So when we think about a summary functioning in the round, it's essentially that turning point between when 4-minute speeches occur and when shorter speeches occur. It's really your time to crystallize and condense the round. So let's talk about that. What is the role of a summary? The summary must crystallize and collapse the round down in a strategically advantageous way. So what do we mean when we talk about a strategically advantageous way? The best way to collapse in a strategically advantageous way is to focus on the one argument that you know you can win the round. On. So whether that's an argument that you write in case, whether that's a turn, essentially you want to be focusing on the win path for your team. So that's really brings me to the second point. The role of the summary is to create a win condition for yourself. Now, what is a win condition? A win condition is an argument that a judge will feel comfortable voting for you on. It's a contention, it's a turn. Basically, it's the big argument that if the judge had to put their decision into one sentence, they would mention this argument in their sentence. And we need to be emphasizing that argument as much as we can. Summary sets the pace for the rest of the round. Final focus can only use arguments made in summary with very few exceptions, which means that basically what you go for in summary is what you're going to lock your partner into going for in final focus. It's very powerful because it just sets the pace for the rest of the round. So given that the summary speech has to cover case and rebuttal, and depending if you're speaking second or first summary, if you're speaking second summary, you also have to cover first summary. That's why it's the hardest speech. You have to cover a lot of content in a very short amount of time. But do not fret, because the difficulty of the speech means you have a lot of power to set the round. A great summary can set your team up for an easy win in the final focus. It can put you miles ahead of your opponents, and we're going to dive more into specifics of how you can do that here. So let's talk about some general tactics. Efficiency is key when giving summary. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. You're going to hear me say that word efficiency a lot because that truly is what separates a good summary from a great summary. As mentioned in the previous slide, there's a ton of content you're going to have to get through, and so efficiently covering that amount of that content is crucial. So what we want to be doing is using less words to say the same thing. We don't want to be cutting out on like important words, important ideas. We want to be saying the same thing, just using things like less filler words, using more efficient words to say the same thing. Prioritization is also essential. It's going to be impossible for you to talk about every argument. You have to focus on your win condition, what your opponent is going to try to do to prevent you from accessing that win condition, and then also focusing on your opponent's win condition to make sure they can't access that. So the differences between first summary and second summary, generally you're going to want to flip second if you get the chance. And let's talk about specifically what that looks like in second summary. Second summary gets to see what first summary prioritizes. So essentially, instead of you having to choose what arguments you're going to go for, what arguments your opponents are going to go for, it's a lot easier. So say your opponent collapses on their second contention, now you know you only have to read responses to their second contention rather than like maybe their first contention as well. Second summary also hears exactly how first summary contextualizes and extends arguments. So sometimes debaters try to shift the way their argument's framed in the round a little bit, change how their links function, but second summary gets the luxury of being able to hear exactly that and then tailoring their responses to fit that argument face on. So what I like to think about this as is you should respond to the best form of your opponent's argument. If you're speaking first, you're not exactly sure how they're going to contextualize their argument in second summary, so you should respond directly to the best possible implication of that argument. And generally, second summary will follow the order and cover the same arguments as first summary. First summary has that big pace-setting power. That's why first summary is the most influential speech in the round. So conclusion. The summary speech is difficult but extremely powerful. Focus on being efficient. more specifics to come in following videos. Thank you for watching.